welcome to The Deadline. I'm Laura, your host and founder of the New Jersey Ghost Hunters Society. I don't know if you've had a chance to catch that show. I've talked about it in the past called Portals to Hell. Jack Osborne stars on it and Katrina Weidman. But an episode that I just got to watch, they went to the Croak-Patterson-Campbell mansion in Denver, Colorado. Now, this is one of the oldest still standing mansion residences in the city. It was nominated to the National Register of Historic Places in 1973. And throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the castle-like mansion's residents represented a cross-section of the American upper class. Today, the building is home to the 4-star Patterson Inn, which opened in 2013 for only $169 a night. You can stay there. It includes like little wine and hors d'oeuvres in the evening, full breakfast in the morning. But the best part for us as ghost hunters is the prominent female ghost who follows guests up the stairs. This ghost is thought to be that of Catherine Patterson. And even in the carriage house that's on the property is thought to be thoroughly haunted by the spirit of a young man named Willie. Reports read that Willie was employed as a hearse driver who robbed graves and brought them back to the mansion and engaged in satanic rituals. Law enforcement was said to have caught him and found that he had hanged the bodies with rope on wooden beams. Now, these wooden beams are still exposed in the mansion to this day. The place has a sad history and it's definitely haunted, so this is on my bucket list. I definitely want to make a trip out to Denver. Not only that, but I MapQuested, and if I drive an hour and 23 minutes north, I could stay at Stanley Hotel. Shining. Woohoo! So anyway, that's, if you catch the Portals to Hell, that was a really good episode. This mansion is absolutely gorgeous, and they had some really cool results on their investigation. So, meeting announcements. We only have one meeting to announce yet again on June 16th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. in the Yellow Room of the Community Center in Hackettstown, located at 293 Main Street. The Yellow Room is upstairs, but Dina did tell me sometimes if nobody's using the Blue Room downstairs, that was our original room, then they meet down there as well. They will have guest speaker Eleanor Wagner, author of Sussex County Hauntings and Other Strange Phenomena, at this meeting on June 16th. So it would be really cool if you can make the meeting. All the meetings are always open to the public and are free to attend. You do not have to be a member. If you have any questionable photographs, recordings, bring them, because we always have a share and scare segment, so we're happy to review any of those media that you bring with you. So again, if you've missed that date, June 16th, we usually update on the website, NJGHS.net. You will find all the meeting dates, times, places, so you can check that out as well. So, haunted trivia. Now, last week's haunted trivia, we asked what was the name of the poet whose ghost is said to haunt the White Horse Tavern in New York City. Nobody got this right. I couldn't have dropped hints harder than lead weights like I did by giving the eye towards the book Ghost Hunting New York City, because the answer was right in there. In any event, the answer was Welsh poet Dylan Thomas. Okay. This week, I have made haunted trivia so easy that even if you have never ghost hunted a day in your life, just from the simple act of turning on the television and having different ghosty shows pumped right into your living room, you should be able to get this. What does EMF, as Echo Mermaid Francis, EMF, what does that stand for? Okay? What does EMF stand for? Now, be the first person to email hauntedtrivia@njghs.net with the correct answer, and you will win a copy of Ghost Hunting New York City, written by me, okay, as part of America's Haunted Road Trip. This was actually the first city-specific book in that whole line. They were doing state by states, and then I wanted to do New York State, and they said, well, that's too big, New York City in and of itself. So this was the first city-specific book in the road trip series, America's Haunted Road Trip. So anyway, if you get the answer right, and you're the first person to email that correct answer to hauntedtrivia@njghs.net, you will win that book. Okay. As always, if you have won in the past 30 days, or you're an NJGHS team leader, you are not qualified to win at this particular time. So thank you. Make sure you send in your answers, and I will be right back after this little commercial break. Do you have what it takes to be a ghost hunter? Are you fascinated with the paranormal? Then why not take your interest to the next level and join the New Jersey Ghost Hunters Society? For a $25 lifetime membership fee, you'll receive training on our cemetery hunts and participate on private investigative teams and receive discounts on the books we sell. Members also get the reduced rate on special events and workshops we host throughout the year. Use the PayPal link on the homepage of www.njghs.net and you'll receive a PDF of your membership card within 24 hours of purchase. Happy haunting!
Hi, this is John Zaffis, author of Shadows of the Dark. You are definitely in for a good treat. You're watching The Deadline on video.
Okay, welcome back. It's time for Parashare, and lo and behold, I have a Parashare this week. It's lengthy, so that's why we have omitted News of the Weird, because I wanted to get this entire story read to you verbatim. It's really good. So here we go. I live in New Jersey. When I was younger, I always heard about a certain haunted house. My mother would never tell me where it was. One day in 1997, a friend of my mother's was visiting when I showed up. She happened to be talking about this very haunted house. I asked her where it was. My mother looked at her and smiled. Now, mind you, I was 27 years old at the time. So, she told me just a couple of stories, and then she told me where the house was. The story she told me was that there was a lady ghost seen in the front bedroom window. She knew the people that lived in the house. I decided to check it out. When I got there, I did see the lady in the window. I got out of my car and I walked around the house. It looked abandoned, except for the living room, which had a sectional couch. I got in my car and started to leave. I had a bad feeling, and as I started to drive away, a black cat crossed my path. I thought to myself, well, this cannot be a good sign. The next day, I was talking to my mom's friend about the house. I had an irresistible feeling to go back to the house. However, I did not return there until 2 weeks later. I should mention that at that time, I was pregnant. I had just had an ultrasound which determined everything was going great with the pregnancy. 2 weeks later, I called my mom's friend and I asked her if she would go with me to the house because I wanted to take pictures. She agreed to go with me. We met in front of the house and I noticed that there was someone living there. I wanted to go into the house, and although she was reluctant, we proceeded to the front porch. I knocked on the door, and a young man, appearing to be in his late 20s or early 30s, answered the door. I explained to him that there is a legend about the house being haunted, and I wanted to know if it would be okay for me to just take some pictures. He looked at me and said, "1 minute." Then another man came to the door. He looked a little older than the first guy. I repeated my explanation for being there and my request to take photos. I further explained that I was only told about the woman ghost in the bedroom window and how this ghost did not like dogs. Now, Megan, the person that submitted this, says this is where it gets scary. As we continued the conversation, I heard a dog walking up the stairs. I told this man about the dog situation and I asked him if he had a dog. He just smirked and said, "Yes, Max." The older man maintained that he had not heard anything ghostly and that everything was fine. I asked him, when did he move in? He said many, many years ago. And I just thought, there's no way he moved in many years ago since it looked like he barely lived there. Then he told me, "I put boxes in the basement where no one goes." I did not understand why he said it that way. He asked us if we wanted to go upstairs. We said yes. As I was walking up the stairs, I had a feeling of a dead body underneath the stairs. If anyone has ever had a psychic reading from me, then you know I have a gift. We went into the bedroom to the right. It was freezing in there, with a distinct breeze going around the room. And yet, this was in June. There was no air conditioning unit and no windows were open. I left that room and looked in the other bedroom and bathroom. These rooms appeared normal. I didn't see the dog that we had heard earlier. As we were standing in the hallway talking, I noticed that the man's eyes were dilated and that my reflection and my friend's reflection were in the aquarium, but not his. We went back downstairs. I had a bad feeling. My friend pulled me to the side and said that when she was coming down the road, she saw a woman wearing a white dress in the bathroom window. Yet, we did not see or hear a woman in the house the whole time we were there. I noticed that when we got to the living room, the first man, the young man who answered the door, was still sitting on the couch and had not moved. It was as if he were frightened stiff. We started to talk again and heard someone stomping across the floor upstairs. We both screamed, and the older man just smirked. The younger man on the couch sat there with no expression. I asked the older man if I could take some pictures. He said, "Yes, but only of the outside and none of me or my friend." I agreed. So I took a couple pictures from the outside. I captured a picture of two red eyes staring out from the doorway. The older man asked if he could take a picture of us. And we said, okay. We left immediately after the pictures were taken. Later, we discussed what we had seen and heard while at this haunted house. My friend decided to call her friend, who had actually lived in the house for 3 weeks. This friend said that she, her husband, and their 2 children lived there for 3 weeks and would never go back there again. She explained that knives were thrown across the room, crucifixes would be turned upside down, and her daughter's bedroom was the one with the ghost. Her daughter had a figurine of a dog, and every morning the dog figurine would be found in the hallway. She also told me that there was a place in the basement that no one would go near. It was a hole in the floor that had no bottom. She determined this by first throwing in pebbles to listen for their hitting the bottom. Since she didn't hear anything, she threw in rocks bigger than her own hands, and still, she did not hear them hit the bottom. One time, she was doing laundry in the basement, and she saw some weird smoke coming out of the bottomless pit. She got a very creepy feeling and refused to go back in the basement. After that, she did the laundry at the laundromat. She also told me about a party that she had. Everyone was outside near the lake, but she was inside. She decided to take a picture of everyone, and when she got the picture back, there was a horrible face in the reflection of the glass. She detailed for me the culmination of the terror and the reason they finally moved out. She and her children were sleeping on the sectional sofa, while her husband was eating dinner and watching TV. Behind the TV was a mirrored wall. As he was going to take a bite of his pizza, he looked up and he saw in the mirror a woman wearing a white dress standing on the stairs behind him. When this woman turned and looked at him, he could see she had horns coming out of her head. He freaked out and grabbed the children and ran them out to the car. He came back in and woke up his wife and told her not to look in the mirror behind the television. When she asked why, he said, "Just don't." She could tell he was very scared and very serious, so she agreed. He picked her up to get her out of the house, and she felt compelled to look in the mirror despite her agreement not to do so. She said it was as if my neck would break by resisting the force I felt making me look in that mirror. She looked and saw the ghostly presence there on the stairs and screamed. They went back to a family member's house for the night. The next day, they went back to this house to move out. They were arguing on the front lawn about who was going to go in first. A neighbor heard them arguing and called the police. When the police arrived, the couple explained what had happened the night before. Of course, the officer did not believe them, and he went inside to inspect the house for himself. About 10 to 15 minutes later, the officer came back out of the house. He was white as a sheet and shaking very badly, and he had his gun drawn. He looked at the couple, and without saying a word, he left abruptly. With that, they decided to leave their belongings and get out of there. The couch that I saw when I went into the house was the same couch that they were on when they saw the demonic-looking ghost. Sadly, for me, 2 weeks after I went into that house, I had to have a D&C because my baby was gone. It wasn't a biological miscarriage because I had everything in place for a viable pregnancy except the fetus. It was gone. I asked my doctor, how is this even possible, especially when just a couple weeks before I had an ultrasound and everything was fine. He said he had no explanation. I spoke to Jane Doherty, a renowned psychic medium and paranormal investigator, and she determined that that was not a ghost, but a phenomenon demon. So thank you, Megan. Amazing parashare. Amazing story. In case you're wondering, Jane Doherty also wrote this book, Awakening the Mystic Gift, so you should get a copy. I think it's got a picture of her in there. Yes, it does. There's my buddy Jane. So this is a really good book by Jane about awakening the mystic gift, the surprising truth about what it means to be psychic. So, and if you've ever gone to her psychic boot camps, awesome. So, you know, everybody has the gift, just a lot of people have it more shut down and buried, and Jane's really in tune and really good at helping you get in tune. So you can always pick up a copy of that. That's pretty cool. But that's the psychic medium that Megan's referring to, that she confided with about this story. And I did a little looking up myself, and I thought, a phenomenon demon, and there is such a thing. So it wasn't like something that you could say, oh, Jane Doherty made that up. No, she didn't. It's a real deal. And so this, and I have to say, I had to ask Megan. I'm like, so where is this house? Because I said I won't tell anybody, and she wrote back to me. She told me the town that it's in, and surprisingly, all right, I'll tell you, it's in Stanhope, right by the Musconetcong Lake, she said. And here's the deal. Stanhope already has so many haunted places. If you get my book, Ghost Hunting New Jersey, I've got the Stanhope House, the Whistling Swan Inn. When you think about the water sources that play into Stanhope, you've got the Morris Canal, and of course the Musconetcong Lake and River, or whatever. So there's a lot. There's a lot to be... and Bell's Mansion. So you can do Bell's Mansion, Stanhope House, Whistling Swan Inn, like all within like a couple miles of each other in Stanhope. So the town's pretty hopping for paranormal activity. And again, thank you so much, Megan, for that parashare. That's awesome. Remember, you too can do a parashare, so send in your story to me, Laura H. at NJGHS.net or ghostchick1964@yahoo.com. That's fine. I also have it noted and linked on the deadline page of the NJGHS.net website. So that wraps it up for this week. Don't forget, if you get down to Asbury Park, stop into Paranormal Books and Curiosities, present your lifetime membership card at the time of purchase and get 10% off your purchase. Kathy Kelly has got a great store there. She also does ghost tours. She's got her museum adjacent to the store. So check that out at 621 Cookman Ave. And thank you so much for joining me this week. Eventually, we're hopefully going to come out of this whole COVID nightmare and the meetings will be back online. And I don't know, it's up to you. If you think I should continue doing these vidcasts, maybe expanding them. I was thinking of starting to reach out to some of the other people that I know in this community, like Carl Petrie, Jane Doherty, and maybe getting them in for some little interviews. It might be pretty cool. But let me know your thoughts, if this should go on after COVID's all done, or should I just say, okay, we're back online with meetings and give it up. So thank you to Brian Muller, my tech coordinator, and our team leaders, Dina Chirico and Melissa D'Agostino, and Don Slepian, who is the performer and the composer of the Deadline theme song. And of course, thanks to you for watching. And remember, at some point in life, you have to meet the deadline.